Hello? I forgot the fucking name of the episode again.
Look it up quickly.
I know it had
Of
tides
course,
in it.
It is Tides.
No,
It's
it's a
Tides.
longer name.
Is it?
Yep. Oh, that started today.
Go on.
Nick Cage's History of Swear Words.
Oh, right.
There is a tide.
There is a tide.
Yes. Hello. Welcome to Bears Boldy Go, Disco Corner, our weekly look at Star Trek Discovery Season 3. And this week we'll be looking at Episode 12, There is a Tide. It definitely ramping up to the end game now.
Yeah, just one episode left after this in season 3.
Which
we did question
is
the other week
where the
how
missing
they were going to
part.
get there.
Yeah, this final episode is where the missing part comes from. You know how we were talking about how the first episode was part 1, and then the second episode wasn't
Right.
part 2? This
Oh, right,
episode
yeah.
is part 2. This coming one.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, next week's episode is I think it's You Are the Hope.
Yeah. Fair enough. Oh, well, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see where they go. I mean, it was obviously in this episode, brief rundown. The Emerald Chain managed to infiltrate the Starfleet headquarters, and
After stealing Discovery last week.
Yeah, after stealing Discovery last week, and she what's her name?
Odessa.
Odessa. She approaches the admiral with a treaty of sorts to see if. Yeah. It sounds on paper like a good idea.
This episode where I was like, "Oh god,
Thanos is right."
Pieces on the cards here, and Michael and co are gonna cock it all up by kicking the men out of airlocks.
Yeah. I mean, you could never quite trust her, but on paper, at least, it seemed to read quite well. I mean, obviously the admiral was quite happy with it, although it was nice because he was savvy enough to ask for something that she was never willing to give.
So where I completely bought in to the admiral as a character I actually trust, I've been wary of him.
Yeah.
Throughout, but here I was like, oh no, he is a.
Yeah, he's a
man struggling with a dilapidated federation.
Yeah. They mentioned the president as well. We've not seen the president yet, have we?
We haven't.
So so I mean, obviously that's going to be something for the future.
I'm curious if there even is one.
If it's like a fictional entity to create.
Starfleet is really all that's left of a federation, but they keep up the pretense to the outside world that there is a federation president. That the admiral might actually be
the president, essentially.
Where the book stops, yeah.
Yeah. I did think that, but then there was also something of like, well, I wonder if like there's a something to come yet.
His impassioned speech to her was quite. I liked it. It felt very federation-y.
It did, yeah. I mean, I think it was. I think the character at the beginning of the series that obviously gave us the necessary worry that he might be a bit of a villain or a sneak or something like that. The infectious nature of the Discovery crew has rubbed off on him, and it seems to have given that hope, ignited that spark.
Episode actually builds us an almost sympathetic Odessa. She doesn't harm any of the crew. She makes it like everything she says.
Yeah,
it's like, oh, maybe she's not. Even like, I quite like the conversation between what I assume is her husband.
No, it's not her husband.
No,
No, I
I
don't
read an
think it is.
implication there that it was.
I read an implication there, but I think it's because he adores her so much because she saved him.
Yeah,
And then so he has a love for her and a dedication to her that you'd expect from a spouse, but I don't think it is that. And whereas like the other way round, she does obviously like him a lot, but one of the reasons she likes him so much is because he's an absolute genius. So
and it was what
I mean,
Stamets said.
he's obviously going to be the key to mining the dilithium planet. So
Yeah, and when and her, I like that her inability to face consequences for her actions
mm,
is what's probably going to unravel everything for her, right? It's
mm,
that moment where she doubles down on being a villain
yeah,
that wavers the doubt in his mind.
yeah,
Like I loved that conversation between him and Stamets,
yeah,
where and obviously as all things spoilers for this episode,
yeah,
but where Stamets says all the terrible things she's done, and he's like, "Oh, but she's so much more than that."
mm,
And Stamets says, "Like, I believe you that she's more than she appears to be, but she is also
everything she appears
exactly
to be.
what she
Yeah,
appears to be." It was a very
yeah, it
nice
was a
moment.
mm. Yeah, as I say, it was a an oddly dynamic episode for
Yeah,
something that was actually quite static.
I love
And
Tilly and the bridge crew.
Tilly, fantastic, Captain Tilly, all the way.
Yeah, even like
Um,
again, there is a we saw it again. Like we mentioned last
mm,
week, how we both completely believe she would try to blow up Discovery
yeah,
if she had to. And it's
mm,
like this week when she's like, "Okay, we gotta go take the bridge back,"
mm,
and she's like, "If anyone falls, we have to
just
leave
keep
them."
going.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it. She is captain material.
Oh God, yeah, yeah, because she's got the like. It isn't a lack of care. It's if
Yeah,
anything, it's the fact that she cares so much that like if you fall, you're falling to help everyone else.
yeah.
So, fair enough. Like, and we'll make sure that we complete the job in honor to you rather than failing the job because you might already be dead anyway. Like,
It's her moment with Buck as well,
mm,
where she thinks Buck's staying because he doesn't trust her,
yeah,
and he's like, "No, you're the best chance I'll have of seeing Michael again. So go do
mm,
what
yeah, yeah,
you need to do."
mm.
I love Tilly, man. She's been my favorite character for a long time, but this season,
Yeah, they've really got it right this season. But again, I mean, it's nicely done. Like they've spent 2 seasons getting there. Like,
yeah,
so they've played the long game in a way that obviously other Star Treks couldn't necessarily do. I mean, obviously the other Star Treks did, but not necessarily deliberately. It was more of a case of like, how are the fans reacting to this one, or reacting to
yeah.
this one, or reacting, and then we'll expand that. Like Data's arc in TNG is wonderful, and that could have been nothing. Like Data could have been a character that didn't necessarily ever go anywhere, or
The truth is, old
um,
Star Trek aren't necessarily character pieces.
well,
Not in the same way that a modern
not
drama
in
like
this
this is.
Not in the same way that they are now, but they are significantly more character pieces than I think we give them credit for. I think,
They
especially,
are plot first, though.
they are plot first, but I think especially in TNG because you've got Patrick Stewart there, who
Yeah,
obviously the caliber of actor that he was or is, and especially, I mean, he says it himself in interviews that like he was overly serious in the original series in
yeah,
season one, um, and you can see later on once he started to have some fun, that's actually when the writers and the directors and the showrunners and what have you really lean into him and the quality. So you get loads of Shakespeare and you get loads of which
DS9 is probably a
mm,
fair bit of a character piece as well at times.
because it's static. So I
Yeah,
think like obviously with something like that, like it relies on people coming to DS9 as opposed to DS9 going elsewhere,
Yeah.
which means that crew needs to be fully fleshed out. You need to have long character arcs. I mean, obviously,
It's where
Cisco's character arc is 7 whole seasons of it. So, but it's it's nice that like they've taken their time with Tilly and the others. To be honest, I mean, it's not just Tilly, but
I liked the
they don't
scene
just.
of them doing the Morse code.
Yeah, it was great. That
Yeah.
was really good. Really, really good.
It,
I think.
even talk about character, I felt the Andorian's death.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it worked because obviously you need to think that she's a bastard.
Yeah.
And so does the scientist. He needs to see that she's a bastard. But we.
But they developed him enough
Enough that we care as an audience. Yeah.
And again, you see
so
the effect of Discovery and the Federation on him, don't you?
Yeah.
That he learns that the world, the galaxy, the universe doesn't have to be cold.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be heartless. It can be more. He unfortunately dies for that belief.
But then, surely it's better that he died that way than just dying on a slave planet in a large industrial complex. He's done, I suppose, like for the character at least.
His arc through the season was good.
Yeah, he probably died not happy but satisfied, at least, or more satisfied than he would have been.
Fun out of a story that the actor who plays him is the husband of the actor who plays Tilly.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Huh. Did not know that. And of course, through all of this, Michael is doing her best
John McClane impression.
John McClane impression, including a lack of shoes and socks at one point. She, I was screaming at the screen when where she gets stabbed, because she very deliberately tries to choke someone out rather than just breaking his neck, and it's at that point that like, well, surely the Terran side of you should have just come out a little bit. And
side of her, is there?
No, but she knows that it's there. She knows that there's a Terran. Like she's worked with.
Not Terran.
No, but she has worked very closely with the Terran Giorgio as well.
But if we talk about how there's various levels of belief in the Federation and how their belief is what she's a true believer to a detriment.
Yes, indeed.
Which is what I think you see in the scene where she blows Stamets out of a ship. That's kind of heartbreaking.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, that was excellent. Although more of her Billie Eilish acting. She was whispering more in this than I think she's done for the entire season. Like, I didn't necessarily even notice it until a friend of mine like put it on his Facebook.
I never noticed it.
Like, all she does is just angry whisper, like angry whisper or sad whisper or like happy whisper. Like whenever there's like inflated emotion, she whispers. Like,
I quite like it though.
I mean, it obviously.
I also like Billie Eilish's music, so
see, yeah, that's where you're wrong.
You're just old.
I mean, massive tangent. She's obviously very talented, but it's also very samey. Like I just, the more I hear of her, and especially when she does dare to sing rather than whisper, I think, all right, let's hear some of that voice. And then the very next track, it's like back to, like, you know, it's
put yourself in the boat of who that, like, again, because we are not. I'm a big pop music fan in general, but me and you aren't necessarily Billie Eilish's target audience.
Oh, but could you imagine how dull going to a Billie Eilish concert is? Just like
Probably
how,
not
like
very.
the,
Like
the,
it's.
the, the lack of presence that she'd have on stage. You'd have to
I don't think there is a lack of presence. So like
you'd have to take
it's
some of
a.
that magic blue stuff
No,
from
you're
Breaking
wrong.
Bad just to make it interesting.
You're just wrong. Like I've seen this like various festival shows on the BBC as we
Mm,
no longer go to music
yeah.
festivals. But
I mean,
like
I would have gone this year. Like, well, last year, sorry. Now it's
I feel
2021.
like we
But
should just
some sort of virus got in the way.
we used to do Leeds every year,
Mm,
which is a UK music festival.
yeah, I did
The best of the UK music
16.
festivals. Don't let anyone tell you Glastonbury's better.
I'd say it probably is. I'd
Yeah,
say,
of course
no,
it
no,
is.
I mean Leeds. No, I'd say Leeds probably is the best one. Like,
Leeds.
I
I think
think
it depends on the year.
as a general one, because I think that Glastonbury can be a bit hardcore as far as like the whole like it's a longer festival. There's a lot.
Glastonbury always has a lot of variety. Leeds is a
Mm,
festival that really does shift with what's popular at the time.
yeah, but I think you've also got to like with Glastonbury, you've got to fully embrace that festival nature. Whereas I
Yeah,
think with Leeds, you could get away with it just being a weekend away with your mates, if you know what I mean.
yeah.
Like as long as you've got enough drink and potentially other things.
Oh God,
Um,
I never thought about that. If I went back to Leeds, it would be a sober Leeds.
no,
What's
Megabuzz is coming out once.
no? What's Leeds like without alcohol?
I think I've done it nearly sober before. I mean, to be honest, like, and again, we're going on huge tangents, but like the last 5 or 6 that I went to, I probably didn't get drunk. I was consistently drinking, but it was so slowly throughout the
Yeah,
day that there was like, yes, I'd been hideously over the level for driving, but like I I knew exactly what I was doing and
and obviously
fully
you would have a
capable and
relatively sober final day because we'd always drive home in the evening.
almost always have a
Yeah,
sober final day. I think I might have had one of the remaining cans of something at lunchtime, and then like by and then that would be it because we'd be driving at midnight. Anyway, back to Discovery.
yeah.
So yeah, so
You just learnt a bit
yeah,
of our festival
bit of
going
our
past.
backstory. Um, and yeah, so like I just she's obviously an excellent actress. I a bit like Billie Eilish. I want to see a little bit more variety. I don't like. I sort of wish I'd never seen that Facebook post, to be honest, because it does. It takes me out of the episode ever so slightly, and like I can see that she's absolutely acting her ass off and doing an incredible job as she always does. But there's something like just like so yeah, a bit like you. I think I didn't notice it until I was told about it in a way. But yeah, great episode. Obviously, nothing, nothing at all on the dilithium planet.
I am intrigued because obviously we're going to rescue Saru and
Or
Amara, and
are they?
yeah,
Is it going to be that they're going to rescue the Federation? Bearing in mind that they've got that absolutely freakishly powerful dilithium
okay.
child.
I'll rephrase it then.
Mm.
They're coming back.
Oh yeah, they'll be back.
Yeah,
They'll
they're
be back.
not dying on that planet.
Mm.
But what's interesting, I think, how does Stamets and Michael come back from what she just did? Like, I
Mm.
I don't see that relationship healing anytime soon.
No.
It was 100% the right call for the Federation.
Mm.
He's too dangerous to have on board Discovery.
This is true. This is true.
But yeah, it
I think it all depends on how Hugh comes back.
yeah,
Like if Hugh's fine, then eventually the wounds will heal. But if Hugh is not fine, or even dead, then that's
like his moment of like, we're here in this dangerous
mm,
time because of
yeah,
you. Like,
yeah,
we
yeah.
followed you
Excellent.
so you weren't alone.
Mm, wonderful. I think
Yeah, good episode.
yeah, and again, like at least geographically, it could go in one of two directions next week.
Yeah,
It could be that they have to race to the dilithium planet, or it could be that somehow the dilithium planet comes to them.
I mean,
So
Odessa is still in command of Discovery,
for now, yes, for now,
but
we'll see
obviously
what.
and that was the final moment.
Mm,
The uh, the sphere data comes to
yes,
Tilly and is like, "Hey, let's go take the ship back in the form of
yeah,
cute robots."
I've really enjoyed that. I
Yeah,
know. It's probably a good portion of the internet that didn't. So there's some
to like.
cynical. Well, exactly. What is not to like? So therefore, someone out there will be on a very sweary rant somewhere, going, "This is not how it should happen."
Like,
Oh, right.
I love the notion of the sphere data slowly
Mm,
taking over the ship's computer, and as they merge, becoming
mm,
intelligent. Right?
yeah.
I've loved that tease throughout the scene
Mm,
early on where Saru's just asking for computer things, and
yeah.
it's
Yeah.
clear that the computer becomes alive for a
Mm.
moment.
I mean, you knew that the sphere data was going to be involved in either this episode or the final episode because of when Osiris software was taking over
Yeah,
the Discovery's operating system, and that one file was refusing to close, and it
yeah.
was because the sphere data was busy watching an old movie.
I
Like,
like the implication that the sphere data,
mm,
if this Star Trek is very much about the idea of family, right?
mm,
That the sphere data now considers, I think it considers the crew of Discovery part of it, not
yeah,
just that it's there in the ship, but that
mm,
the crew is worth preserving as well as itself.
yeah, it's become a yeah yeah, either part of its greater whole, or there
Yeah,
may be its children, in a way, because obviously the sphere data is now the ship, and
yeah,
the ship is looking after the things that live on it. So
yeah. But yeah,
yeah,
when Tilly says, "Are you the spare data?" and it's just like, "Yeah, let's take the ship back." I liked it.
yeah, yeah. So did I. So did I. I think. I wonder if we'll ever get a series of just an empty ship, just a sentient ship.
Happens sometime along the line.
Yeah.
The Discovery becomes alone for some time.
Well, I mean, yeah, because there is that short trek where it's empty, isn't it? So
Yeah,
um, anyway, on that note, I think we've done enough discussing of this particular episode. It will be interesting to see where it goes next week.
I'm
Next week will
excited
be
to see the end.
obviously the final episode of this season. So it'll be the final episode of this season of
However,
Disco Deck
we
or
will be
Disco
back
Corner.
later in January, and we're going to keep the show going, looking at Star Trek Lower Decks when it hits the UK.
Yep. Um, So, and at some point, we'll obviously do the TNG films, and maybe even the Kelvin Universe films. Um, so,
They are
uh,
two very good films.
there are two very good films in that, yes, yeah, and something that sits in between them.
They made Star Trek in 2009. Then they took
Yeah,
a really weirdly long time off and made
yeah,
Star Trek Beyond.
mm, yeah. There was a failed experiment in the middle, I but
I don't remember that.
I'm not sure it ever made it to cinemas. Um, so yeah, but yeah. Anyway, live long and prosper, everyone, and we'll see you next week.
Can't do it today. See ya.